Alright, good evening guys. I wanted to give you a peek into what I do when I want to mount one of these cars into one of these M2 cases, and I'm going to use a little bit of that metal polish there to clean up this case, and I'll show you how I do that and get the car mounted and all that. I've already got my little print off that I did for the label, and I've showed you guys how I do this, and just doing it in Google Docs, printing it up, getting it to size properly on the length of this case and where the label goes. It barely fits in this particular instance, but yeah, let me walk you through all that. I've got my Cat 6 cable that is all twisted pairs, have been untwisted and cut to length so that I can use this to wrap around the wheels and hook it in there. But I haven't really done anything in this case, although I did clean this side. I'll show you, because I'm going to clean this side with the metal polish. But yeah, so just pop this open, and you have these little posts here, and I'm going to drill those out. So let's do that first. And this is just a 3/16 inch bit. I like to go from this back side. Don't really have to do anything too crazy, but see all the little plastic shreds that you got to kind of clean off. And then we'll kind of round this a little bit just to make sure the jagged edges are gone. Oops, pulled that right out of there. Guess it was loose. Okay. Alright, so this is ready. Relatively clean. Alright, let's go back over here. So, this case, let me back this up just a little bit. So if you can see, this side looks pretty good, but right here, see those marks? They're kind of like little scuffs, and they used to be on this side, but I use the metal polish. So I'm going to use the metal polish here and show you how that goes. So I just have a regular little paper towel here, and I just get a little bit of this. Probably already have enough on there from before. It'll come out. It doesn't come out because this is an old bottle. You can see how it's all crusted around the top. I did add a little bit, just a little bit of water. Just a little bit of water to loosen it up. Doesn't take much. And it's pretty basic. You just kind of, you don't think this is going to work, right? You think it's going to like make it worse, scratch it up. think the sides are pretty good. I don't need to worry about the sides. Maybe right there a little bit. And then you kind of just work it in, right? So I use this obviously on like chrome and other things. I was primarily using it on my vehicles. Like I have some like cars and have had cars with like chrome tipped exhaust. And, in the past I had a truck with chrome bumpers, and you know, this stuff worked really good at cleaning that up. And so yeah, I think it was one of you cats that told me how to use this. Maybe it was you, Mr. Beard. I'm not sure who it was. Applying some pressure, as you can see. Okay. And then I had this microfiber rag. Not going to be perfect. But check that out. Just a little bit up there. But all in all, that's how it's done. So just a little technique, you know, in case, you know, and I don't expect these cases, they're repurposed cases. I don't expect these cases to come perfect. There's going to be a few that may have a little crack down here on the seam, you know, or may have some scuffs and stuff like that. I fully understand that when I buy them. But having this metal polish is always a nice little thing to be able to take out anything that, you know, maybe a little bit too unsightly. I think, you know, although that's not perfect, I think that's good enough for what I'm going to use it for. And I have run these through like soap and water, you know, just like, you know, wash them in the sink, a little soap and water, trying to be super careful not to scratch them. But yeah, that's how that works. And this stuff is called Blue Magic liquid metal polish. You can see it's got, you know, chrome rims and your candelabras and chrome exhaust, that kind of stuff. So it says it's safe on chrome, aluminum, copper, brass, gold, silver, stainless steel, fiberglass. Remove oxidation and tarnish. Yeah. Fatal if swallowed, so be careful. Alright. All kidding aside, cool products. Alright. So, let me pause this. I'm going to wash my hands. Alrighty. Let's come over here. I got decals all over the place, guys. Been working a lot of different things. so I apologize for the clutter. This is a 164 diecast workshop, toy shop, so inevitably I'm gonna have stuff laying all over the place. And speaking of Mr. Beard, Travis, I appreciate you sending over some decals. He did this a few months back, and one of the decal sets he sent me was this Juniper Kyle Busch number 18 Mist. That's their wireless offering, but Juniper Networks is a company we know about it at where I work. But yeah, so this is a pretty cool Supra, and the only thing that's not cool about it is I don't have the front banner. But other than that, I've got everything, and pretty sweet car, to be honest with you. I love the green. I've said this before how much I love green, and then the transition to the black, or black to the green, is really sweet. These white lines are pretty neat too. It's a neat little design on this Xfinity rowdy car. All right, let's get this thing lined up. So basically, untwist this twisted pair of green, and I'm a little crazy in this regard that I like to kind of match up the color, because it comes brown and orange and blue and green in the twisted pair for Cat 6, Cat 5 telephone cable. And so I like to try to match up the color of the wire with the color of the diecast. If I can. If I can't, then so be it, but if I can, I try it. So get this thing in a U shape, hook up these little corners, loop it around the tires, axles here. What's nice about these this style of car is there's usually plenty of room to do this. Might be a little bit of a hassle to get it started, but there's usually plenty of room to do this. On the next gen cars, what a pain in the backside those things are. They are so tight. I've got to strip the wire down to the bare metal to get it to work. And this one's being a pain. We shall use the tweezers to get them through. Yeah, I that's one thing I don't like about the next gen is I've got to strip the wire down, or strip the sheathing off the wire, and then I can pull it through and get it through the back here. I've showed you guys doing this before, but okay. And I got to do the front. Come on, work with me here. Okay. Come on. There we go. Definitely have to have clean hands when you're at this stage, and you know, I washed with Dawn soap before I started the video. got a little bit of residue from the metal polish on my hands, but did not want to carry that over as I'm holding this car and getting it all over, right? Get my fingers all over here. Probably already got enough stuff on it, but alright, so you get to this stage where you pulled it tight. Now we kind of fish it through here. And I cut these plenty long. Probably too long, to be honest with you, but plenty long. Get it down to there. Gonna push it down as far as I can. And then I kind of tug on these. Okay, and then I'm taking the front on this side to the back on the other side and twisting. Push that out of the way. Go to the other two. Same thing. Twist this guy. Okay. Now they're still a little loose, but I want to get this thing centered, so kind of push down and get this thing in place. And at this time, this is when I grab my mouse pliers and I squeeze and I turn these in such a way I want them to tighten there. Do one, do the other. There's a fine line here because, if I twist too much, they'll snap and break on me. I've had that happen a few times as I try to get it as tight as I can without breaking it. But sometimes they will break, and so, I got that pretty good right there. And I've tried to do this to where I get the good year, at least on the top, like so, for those wheels. Sometimes I forget to do this, but yeah. Alright. So then, once I get that there, I'll trim these off with my scissors. And then I'll kind of take these and twist them a little bit so they're not going anywhere. Push them down there. Alright. Now, the last part is getting this in place. And so, kind of eye it up. I see I got to trim a little bit on the sides. Trying to get it as symmetrical as possible. It's very difficult. But then you can see it's too high. That space there is way too narrow. So I got to trim off a little bit off the bottom, a little bit off the top. Because again, I want to try to get the lettering centered in the middle of the label. Pick that up later. All right. There we go. Now, looking at it, it looks like it's a little bit smaller than what's there. But all right, so let's get this guy. So I'm going to come up just a little bit right there. Yeah, that worked out really well. Pretty happy with that. And there she goes. Next step is I'll take some pictures. I'll see if I need to put another coat of gloss on it. This basically has 3 coats of the Pledge and 1 coat of the X22. So we'll see if I need to put another coat of the Pledge on it just as a final touch-up. I may do that. But that's how I do it, guys. It's not rocket science, but that's kind of the method that I have developed. You know, everybody can find their own method, but that's how I do it. Alright, let me show you what else I got going on. As you may have seen, I've got Sergio, I've got your AJ Allmendingers that I'm working, your Food for Less, and your Ralphs. One of the things that I'd forgotten about working some of these Chevys from 2016 is inevitably the side decal is too long, and so this stretches over a little bit on the back and becomes a kind of a pain as you try to get it to fold around the back, and yeah, so anyways, that's the one hassle. Also, the nose is always the decal's a little too big for the nose, so this comes up a little high, especially if you have a decal across the bottom, like where it says Food for Less here, and kind of comes around. It's hard to get that centered, so it's a little bit high. Anyways, that's how that's coming along. Whoop. Gonna do the Ralphs here next. Got that here. Mr. Kitty, I've got your 45 Monster here, ready to do here shortly. I was cutting out the decals a little bit earlier. What else have I done? I've done a few things. Let me show you here. I had made a few. Got this 2020 pedigree. I was going to use a PTC mold. I got a few of the PTC molds that I bought, so got this to do. It's a black Toyota PTC mold. I worked up this Can't Stop Us Now pit bull, and I'll be putting that probably up on eBay shortly. Appreciate you, Simon. Let me know that Lionel's making these. So yeah, I did put this together earlier today on a PTC mold. This is that fictional Kyle Busch 2023 I Buy Power. Thought it was funny. It's got Allsco uniforms and Lenovo, and then it's got 3G on the back here. But yeah, fictional scheme that I thought would be really cool for some Kyle Busch fans, but figured I'd give it my first go around with the PTC mold, and it turned out pretty well. I'm fairly happy with it. And then Isaac, as you may have seen, I got yours in the works. I took one of those decal sets for this Ricky Rudd 1987, and I applied it on a next gen car. You know how the Ford test cars come with the blue rims? I thought this might be pretty cool, so I went ahead and turned one of those into this, Ricky Rudd version. So just messing around, trying something different, doing something a little creative. So that's that. Yeah, as I said, Isaac, I've got a couple of yours stripped here. These are painted back here. This is the red, apple red. And then, of course, the Ken Schrader throwback is white. Like I said, I was messing around with some of these PTC molds. And I'm going to do one of these blasters, these BJ McLeod blasters with the PTC mold. And Sedaris, I'm going to do this other one for you, PTC blaster. Interestingly enough, looking at the color of those cars, I went ahead and I'm using the Rust-Oleum Poppy red, not the apple red. I think that's a better match to the PB blaster color, because I don't think it's a red. Anyways, I went back and forth, talked to my wife and my daughter about that. And they're like, "Oh yeah, use the Poppy red. We think that's probably the best." So that's what I'm trying. And then I'm gonna I'm goofing around here again. I'm gonna make a couple more of the Chastain Pitbull Can't Stop Us Now. This is the color shot little black dress, and then this is the color shot Smoke and Mirrors. And what I did was I took, these are the rims that come with the that are kind of grayish, that come with the Chevy test car. I've gone ahead and let me set this down. I've gone ahead and I'm starting to paint the rims using the black metallic. You can see how it colors it ever so slightly, adds a little bit of color to it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing on those rims. Paint one side, and then I flip it over and I'll paint the other once this all dries. And I usually just let it dry overnight, and I'm in no rush. So yeah, guys, that's a little bit of a tutorial of what's going on in a toy shop today. Let's finish this with a verse. So, one of the shortest verses that I memorized, and every once in a while I've got some long verses that I was memorizing, and then I was like, hey, let me pick something a little bit simpler. So this is Living by Faith, 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. How easy can that be, right? But note, just because it may be easy to memorize doesn't mean it's easy to live. And that's what the word walk means. It means as you walk in this life, we are supposed to, as Christians, we're supposed to live by faith and not by our sight. So regardless of what's happening in this world, the craziness, and even sometimes when we think that God is against us, we have to walk by faith. And faith is really something we can define faith by saying that it is a continued abiding confidence in the Word of God, irrespective of our circumstances. Had a pastor that drilled that home to us. So irrespective of the circumstances that we're currently in, we look at God's Word, we look at what He says, and we believe that over our circumstances. We don't live by what we see, we live by the faith. And faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God, according to Romans. Anyways, guys, God bless. Hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.